In this final section, we will cover protections and recommendations to address workplace heat stress. In the United States, there are certain protections in place for workplace heat stress, but currently all standards exist at the state level. Existing standards include the states of California, Colorado, Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington, each of which has a standard covering a different group of select workers. States with current heat standards under development include California, Nevada, and Maryland, and active legislation is also present in Massachusetts and New York at the time of this recording. At the federal level, the Biden administration announced its plans to protect both workers and communities from the effects of extreme heat. However, federal heat standards are still under development and are not in place at the time of this recording. There has been some progress toward a federal workplace heat standard in the U.S., and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration plans to publish a proposed standard this year, 2024. Active federal legislation includes 2 bills, which in July of 2023 were introduced in both the United States Senate and House of Representatives, with 24 and 85 co-sponsors respectively as of January 2024. In the meantime, without a federal heat standard in place, there are other resources that employers and workers can use to assess heat safety. One is from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health in their Heat Safety Tool app. This is a free resource that can be used to inform the scheduling of outdoor work activities based on how hot it feels throughout the day, and it is available for both iPhone and Android users. It measures heat index using temperature and humidity, which is used assuming conditions of light wind and shade. The app works by utilizing location services on one's mobile device and allows users to edit the location, temperature, and humidity for different conditions to best optimize the scheduling of outdoor work activities. Other recommendations for workplace heat stress include the following. One would be to develop an acclimatization plan. This would involve gradually increasing time exposed to heat stress over 7 to 14 days, and for new workers, having 20% or less of exposure to a hot environment for the first few days of work, and then gradually increasing on each additional day. For workers with previous experience who might have better levels of acclimatization to heat stress, the following schedule can be used to introduce work in a hot environment. Other recommendations include setting up a buddy system and scheduling and encouraging frequent breaks. Buddy systems help to promote accountability among workers by having peers check on each other, ensuring that they are taking breaks, staying hydrated, and not experiencing heat-related symptoms. In an ideal setting, rest breaks should include access to drinking water, shade, and air conditioning when possible, but in many workspaces this is challenging. Additionally, employers should encourage their workers to stay hydrated. To stay hydrated, workers should drink small amounts of water before becoming thirsty. And when engaged in moderate activity, workers should drink 1 cup of water or hydrating fluids every 15 to 20 minutes, or more when engaged in heavy and very heavy work. And finally, it's important to emphasize the need for appropriate clothing and personal protective equipment. Workers should be encouraged to wear clothing that is light-colored, loose-fitting, and breathable. Cotton clothing can also be soaked in water to help workers cool down. And then certain personal protective equipment, which is needed to protect workers from other occupational hazards, can have the potential to increase heat-related health risks. So it's important to balance the use of PPE in hot work environments. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, use of face coverings were needed to protect workers from infection, but also increase the risk of heat-related illnesses. Although these recommendations are intended to promote a healthy workplace for workers, it is ultimately the responsibility of employers to protect workers from heat-related illnesses. By law, all employers are responsible for providing workplaces free of known safety hazards, which includes extreme heat. Thank you for your time and attention, and for learning more about how climate change can impact our most vulnerable worker populations.